So Damian Lillard has been unquestionably, undyingly loyal to the Portland Trailblazers. And Portland, for the most part, has been very loyal to him. Although you can make the argument they really haven't been, because they have never really put a solid contending team around Damian Lillard and really gave him a fair shot at winning an NBA championship. Damian Lillard is only getting older. Injuries are starting to really become a thing for him. And it just feels like he only has a couple more years left of elite high level in which he can maybe contend for an NBA championship. And Portland is just not in the position to contend for an NBA championship. They have some decent pieces, but nothing really that's going to change the landscape for Portland. And they're really going to have to make a decision, right? The Portland Trailblazers landed the number 3 pick. And do you go and take that and move it and get a star? You know, maybe you package that and Sharp and maybe Simons and whatever else you got to go get another star, or, you know, a couple like mid-tier guys or blue chip type guys in which Damian Lillard, maybe you could give him a shot with. Or do you start to look to trade Damian Lillard? Now, personally, I think it's time to move off of Damian Lillard. I think very likely Scoot Henderson is going to fall to the 3 spot. And if he does, then you have an opportunity to draft him. If not, there are plenty of other options out there. And I think you, in a perfect world, would draft Scoot Henderson. And getting Scoot Henderson, now you have your replacement for Damian Lillard for the future. You have a nice young core that you can build on and build around. And you move Damian Lillard for whatever assets and whatever pieces you can get. I think that that is the best course of action for the Portland Trailblazers. If I'm Portland, I am telling Damian Lillard, hey, we love you. We appreciate you. Everything you've done for Portland, you have been fantastic. But it's time for us to go in this rebuild route. Damian Lillard himself has already expressed that he doesn't want to rebuild, that he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. He said that himself. He had his interview where he said he wants them to go and get pieces that he can contend with. And I just think if you're Portland, what's the point now? Seriously, what is the point now of all of a sudden you're going to unload all of your future to build around a Damian Lillard who's having trouble staying healthy, is only getting older, and what are you going to get that's immediately going to make you a contender, right? Maybe Joel Embiid becomes available, right? And you unload stuff and go get Embiid, and now you have Damian Lillard. Maybe something like that could happen, but who's to say that does happen? Who's to say you still win? If you're Portland, I think you have a nice building block, a nice foundation, a nice future. You're going to get probably some great assets in return for Damian Lillard. And I think if you can land Scoot Henderson, you have Simons, you'd have Sharp, maybe you go and unload Nurkic, maybe you go and unload Jeremy Grant, and maybe some sign and trade or something. Maybe you re-sign him and kind of have him as like that veteran wing guy. I just look at it and go, if you get Scoot Henderson, you got Sharp, that's a really good foundation and building block. You have Simons, who personally, and this is just my personal thoughts, I would move him. I think he has a lot of potential. I think he's a great piece, but I think he's really hot and cold. Could you go get like a Kuminga or something like that in some type of deal for Nurkic, right? Like, could you take Nurkic, trade him to Golden State, and get, I don't know, a Kuminga and Moody or something, right? Because the Golden State Warriors really need a center badly. And he would fit great with his ability to pass and, knock down shots and just be a big body to fill the paint. Maybe you could do something like that and get some other young pieces to now build around this core. Maybe you get a Kuminga, maybe you could get a Moody, maybe you could take Simons and trade him to an Orlando team or something like that, or a team that could use some firepower, use some shooting, maybe get some more pieces, and then just have your foundation in building blocks and start building a legit team for the future. I think if you look at it like this, if when all is said and done, you end up getting, let's say, Sharp, let's say maybe you could trade Lillard to like New York, right? Maybe you could get like an RJ Barrett a Grimes and 4 firsts, right? So if you could do something like that, let's say if you unload and you basically trade everybody, if when all is said and done, you have something along the lines of like Sharp, Henderson, you have Kuminga, Moody, you have Grimes, Barrett, and you have like 4 first-round picks, I think that is a home run, and I think Portland is in a great position for the future. I think that you can now really start building a team that could be great for now and the future. A young, competitive team. You're only going to continue to get better draft picks. Maybe one of these guys, maybe Kuminga, with his athleticism and ability, maybe you can shape him into like a legit 3-and-D small forward, power forward type player, right? And then you have Sharp, you have him. I'm just spitballing, throwing out ideas that are popping up at the top of my head, but I think regardless, I think Portland, it's just time. It really is. I think it's time for Portland to move off of Damian Lillard. I think that there would be a real market for him. I think you'd have a real opportunity to get him. Maybe you even trade him to like Philly and you get, I don't know, whatever other draft picks they have left and like a Maxey or something, right? I look at Damian Lillard and I go, one, he should have the ability to go to a contender, have a real shot at winning an NBA championship. He's been incredibly loyal and deserves that. And I think you ask him, where do you want to go? What team do you want to go to? And I think whatever team he says, you trade him to that team and you get as many assets in return as possible. And you take Scoot Henderson, you take Sharp. If you want to keep Simons, fine, keep Simons. You unload all your veteran guys and get as much of a return as you can. Even if it's pennies on the dollar, who cares? You're going the tank route, you're going the young route, you're going the development route. And I think you just full lean into a rebuild. Because the alternative is what? Either you upset Damian Lillard and he requests a trade anyway, or B, you trade all your young assets to go and build a team around Damian Lillard to what? Maybe contend for a year or two, when in 2 or 3 years you might actually be a contender. If Scoot Henderson becomes the player that many people think he's going to be, he could be a franchise player and a cornerstone for this franchise, right? And then you add Sharp, who had a really good season for Portland this year, and you would imagine is only going to get better. And, Simons, like, worst case, you keep him off the bench if you want to. Or, like I said, you move him. Can you get some other pieces? Can you trade Nurk to a team, like I said, the Warriors, and get some young assets, some young pieces? I just think if you're Portland, that's the best course of action. No more just trying to keep Damian Lillard around. I think you have a conversation. You tell Damian Lillard, like, hey, we love you. You've been great. You've been loyal to a fault in many ways. We haven't done our part, so we want to do right by you, and you tell us where you want to go. Wherever that is, I think you trade him there. If he wants to go to Golden State, you trade him to Golden State. If he wants to go to one of your right, if he wants to go you trade him whatever. Whoever it is, whatever it is, I think you trade it to him so you do right by Damian Lillard. And that way you as an organization look good for the future, and you show hey, we weren't able to build around Damian Lillard, but look, we got these assets. We got this young team and this young core. We're ready to, do the right course of action this time and really try to build a contender for the future. I think that that's what you do. And I think, I don't think anyone would be mad. I think Damian Lillard gets a real shot. I think, maybe you trade him. I don't know. Trade him to Denver or something. I don't know. But trade him to a contender. Get this man to a place where he can and have an opportunity to win. I think he deserves it. I think it would be great to see Damian Lillard at least have a real chance at contending for a championship, even if he doesn't win it. Just give you a real shot. I think it's worth a try. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think no, keep Dame, trade the young assets? Do you think no, trade Dame and rebuild, do things the right way? Do you have any ideas of like the type of trades you'd like to see? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below.